Good morning, it's Grandpa Butler. One of the grandchildren said it'd be fun to see a dragon, so we're going to do a dragon this morning. I picked up this art to style because I find it relaxing, easy to do, very portable, easy to clean up and set up. Basically, I use water-soluble crayons and a paintbrush and permanent ink on my main object. So we'll put the main object out, and then what we'll do is we'll color that object and then put in some background here. Impressionistic background. My paints are impressionistic both because I don't fill in the background too much and because I make lots of mistakes and I call that impressionism. So here's our dragon. I appreciate another grandchild, Soren, for getting me started and helping me with technical advice and posting these. So let's start with our dragon, and first dragon I've ever done. But I think doing dragons, mortals can forgive you. I don't know if the dragons forgive you or not when you mess up, but I think mortals who are witnessing the dragon will be, and normally don't they have a little kind of things, head scally things coming up here. That's a technical name for them. And then wingy things coming out. Should you put a claw on the wingy thing or not? Yeah, why not? After all, it's a dragon. I don't know if all dragons have those. I guess I could view Game of Thrones and figure it out. I think they just had gas breath, right? Maybe ate too much dark chocolate or something. Okay, so their top is the wing here, the edge here I'm putting in here like this. So I'm doing two lines kind of parallel. Not exactly parallel because I'm impressionistic and because I also have neuropathy here. Which is okay. So here we come up on a wing structure here. Doesn't go all the way around. Come in here. I'm kind of looking at a sketch over here. A little bit different than my sketch, but that's okay. Oh, you know what? We'll call that neuropathy there. We'll call that intentional spikes on the tail. I like that. Sort of like some of the research mistakes people make. Oh, that was just a robustness check. Okay, now that's a robustness check on the lines there on reality. Okay, so again, we're doing this to have fun, and so just have fun, Grandpa, just relax. Let those be clawish things here coming down. And why not? A dragon should have clawish things. And we'll have another foot here with more clawish things coming down. So the request is black and blue, but I have problems with black. I just think it's kind of often uninviting as a color. So, but if you mix like red, dark red with blue, it seems to be blackish most of the time, and so I'm going to do a red and blue, and when I mix them together with a brush, I think I'll get like a blackish thing going. And these are kind of dragon scales here, and in fact, actually, when I get the crayons here, I don't think I'll see them. So mostly, this is a reminder to me. There's the wing, and I think that's okay. So we got stage one complete, I think. So we'll erase it, and then we'll color our dragon, and then we'll put in stage two, and then stage three we'll put in background and touch up the dragon where he needs that. Okay. Okay, so the dragon. Here I'm at liberty, only before I get too much at liberty, let me do a kind of yellow around the outside of the eyeball and a kind of orange in it. Does that look ominous enough to you? The yellow maybe needs to be a little bit more ominous. Okay, and so what I'm doing with the crayon, and I love doing this with crayons because, and I love most of the time leaving some of the pigment undissolved in the pictures just as part of the structure. So when I draw it, I'm kind of drawing things like scales and stuff, and then I hope some of that remains behind when we're done. So again, never done a dragon before. Great request. I appreciate it. Hope this turns out to be what my granddaughter was thinking of. Only I know it's not, right? Because it's not black and blue. It's red and blue. But the reds and blues kind of mix together and sort of make that interesting black. Think of it that way, right? So, all right. Maybe that's just an interesting piece on the chest. Maybe there'll be a little bit less red in the wings, but some, maybe we'll put more blue there, because that's what we got to do next, is get the blue in here. And shall we make his claw, put a little bit of yellow in it, just for, hey, pay attention to me, don't forget me, I'm out here. I'm part of this as well. Okay. Now we're going to go kind of around here. We'll do the blue here more, especially on the wings, kind of strokey things. Oops, Grandpa almost went outside the lines, which is okay. When you do outside the lines, that's even more impressionistic. Okay, modern art. And if you don't have any lines, you only have a bunch of splotches. I'm sure that's a kind of modern art that has a name, but I don't know what it is. And I am sorry. I don't know more about art and stuff, but I just know that this has been a relaxing way. It's just started this year in 2021, doing this kind of sketching and work, and it's pretty flexible, especially on smaller pieces, and it's pretty fun, I think. And so that's why I adopted it. And doing it with some of the grandkids in person and not being able to be in person all the time. So my daughter-in-law says, well, why don't you put some of this? I'm not sure any of that's going to show up, but let's find out. Again, this is a big experiment here. We have to do some more. Should we start up here kind of towards the top? So I'm using my brush that I use because it goes so well on trips when I go up in the mountains, or I travel. And I really have to thank my sweetheart, my girlfriend of 50 years, for tracking down this stuff for me to try out. Turned out to be a great blessing in my life, as she has been. Okay. Now we'll let the stuff around the eyeball kind of dry out before we come back and touch up the eyeball. So probably should have done it first. Let it dry out and then come around. Notice that I'm stroking here in the same way I did my lines, because one thing I want to do is I want to have this part of the art process here, and I don't want to mix I kind of like to do this without having to do 10 washes over the same area, and each wash watercolor serves a different purpose. So this is my silly way of getting around that. And I should have done more blue on this back leg. So let's do an experiment here, real time. We want it darker, so I'm going to get out my blue crayon and put it more here. And now it's wet, and you can see that it's kind of a different kind of experience. Okay. Frequent dips of the brushes. Oh, too much water on the brush that time. No, that's not really, I really intended that. Again, it's impressionistic. I never make mistakes. I just do lots of impressions. How's that? Okay, so here we go. Kind of getting done with this guy. I think we need to touch him up later on, but now that's stage 1 and 2, except for the eyeballs. Is it too late to touch him up? Too much water. Gets the idea. Okay. So moving along to the background, and we'll do the mountains first. I love the mountains out in the western United States and in China. Although I usually spend most of my time in Chengdu, there teaching, and appreciate their patience. And the graduate students I've worked with there, really good, attentive students. Okay, so we're doing a mountain here. This will be a kind of lighter purple red here. We'll go in here, along here. And the question is, do we want to do snow? Yeah, let's do snow. So Grandpa is putting areas here where there's snow fields. He's outlining those, and he's going to try and remember to work around them in a minute. And that'll be a snowfield. And these will be a bunch of kind of cliffy things coming down here, and more cliffy things up here. You are thinking, oh, his neuropathy is actually benefiting him right now, but actually now it's not. It's irritating when I'm trying to get these things. Okay, so now we're going to put in some periwinkle blue is what it's called. And again, when we draw in the picture, we try and remember where we want the snowfields at, and down there. And we try and follow the terrain with our crayon. And there's a little hill, like say right here. I'm trying to make that hill impression. Here, oh, I just colored in some of my snow. Well, this will be snow on top of it. Right here. And this will be snow in here. Okay, how's that? Oh, wow, Grandpa, you're really impressionistic today, which is to say, Grandpa, you're making lots of mistakes and having lots of fun. I am having lots of fun. I want you to remember that. Okay, coming down here, you want a snow field along that ridge? Yeah, why not? And then we'll put some ridge underneath it here. Looks like this is about the edge of the drawing here. Snow kinds of impressions there. Now I'm going to put a line in here for the edge of our meadow that the dragon has landed in. Just to remember what's going on. And I'll put in some trees after we get the mountains in here. So I'll get some water on here. Usually for me, a right-handed person, working left to right is best. And look at that, I just spilled a bunch of color into one of my intended snowfields. So the lesson, which I learn again and again, is work around the snowfield first, Grandpa, and then you don't have to make stupid mistakes and be so impressionistic all the time. Oh, my dear granddaughter, you are so right. Well, let's see what we can do here. Okay, coming down up here and along here. Now the contrast, fortunately, the dragon is dark enough and my background is light enough so that the dragon stands out. Oh, okay, I just ruined another snowfield, so we'll pretend that really never meant that to be snowfield. I really never intended that to be an instrumental variable in that regression. That was just a mistake. Well, it was not a mistake, it was all my intentional. Okay, so there we go. We got kind of the mountain. That took longer than we thought. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put in some trees. I said we put in forest. Now let me change my mind. We'll put in deciduous trees here just to change the pace of doing pines all the time. Now, and more than pines even perhaps, deciduous trees are have shadows, differential shadows, and that's what makes them interesting to do like that. And you see kind of irregular bits of their trunks as you look out. So we'll do those irregular bits of trunks there. And I think that's enough in our impressionistic painting. So let's lighten them up. Dip our brush, dab off the excess water, and again dab as you come through here. Don't run your brush straight through because then everything becomes mixed and just a big dab of gray. So in general, except when you're doing skies and water, I think you want to leave some of the pigment behind. Okay, so we're getting closer. Closer, closer, closer. And we have a field out here that our guy's in. And let us take the liberty of getting some of that field already wet. And then maybe finding drying some of it off here. It's very difficult to do your permanent ink third stage touch-ups when your watercolor's still wet or you still got a lot of crayon residual to work with. So we're coming back to that because the dragon seems to be looking at something, doesn't he? And what is it that dragon could be looking at? Just a little lamp. Who knows? The dragon knows. Okay. But we don't know yet. We are going to discover that together. Okay, and we have a dragon here. Before we do anything else with the dragon, maybe let's look and see what the dragon is looking at. Maybe it's a person. And so putting in a person here with our pen sort of sets the scale, doesn't it, on a dragon here. And maybe he's out walking a dog. Maybe that dog's name is Shasta or something fun like that. the dog look afraid. I don't know how to do when my hand's shaking so much. I don't know how to do dogs that are afraid here, or even dogs that are unafraid. But they're holding Shasta back so he doesn't start attacking the dragon too quickly and out of order, right? And the other thing we need to add here, of course, is where our dragon is. The sun's coming in underneath the dragon here. Here. Say it's coming from the right-hand side. We need to add some shadows here. Do those look ominous enough to you? I don't know. They kind of look sort of ominous and sort of not. You know? It's on the ominous index. What do we got here? Maybe 5 out of 10 at best. Grandpa, you are not very ominous. And it's a good thing you didn't work for a responsible government agency and was instead an academic all your life. Okay, now we're going to just do some touch-ups here. And so let's see. Yeah, I think that's touched it up a little bit here and there. And Grandpa will just put his initials in here. And we'll call it a day. I think the initials are a little too prominent. Hide them a little bit. Let's put them in a tree here. And then we'll call it a day. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Love you all. I hope you're having a great day. Bye-bye.